Nityanand. Well, today I get the distinct privilege of addressing the latest masterpiece of fiction from iNoticias and Inter Bolivia, Bolivia's self-appointed and self-proclaimed gatekeepers of truth, who've apparently decided that indigenous rights and Hindu existence are optional. What you call as journalism, we call as calculated hit job, dressed up as concern, aimed at indigenous sovereignty and anyone daring to stand with it. Now buckle up, because we're about to dismantle this clown show with facts, wit, and a mirror for your hypocrisy. Now, about KAILASA sovereignty and legitimacy. Let's start with basics. Who died and made iNoticias and Inter Bolivia the arbiters of nationhood? Last time I checked, even the United Nations doesn't get to play the game with red stamp and a gavel. KAILASA ticks every box of Montevideo Convention, be it population, be it territory, be it government, be it ability to enter into international relations, whether you like it or not. And Bolivia has also ratified this treaty which you are talking about, by the way. So maybe crack open a history book before you embarrass yourself further. Your fictitious label isn't just wrong. It is a neon sign screaming to the Hindu diaspora, you don't belong. Cute. Where have we heard this tune before? Oh right, every time someone's warming up for a pogrom. Nice legacy you've been building up there. Now on agreements with indigenous communities. Oh, bless your hearts. Clutching pearls over conservation partnerships between the United States-based Hindu organization and Bolivian indigenous communities. Newsflash! These aren't land grabs. They're agreements that gasp respect. They respect indigenous ownership and sovereignty. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism isn't signing anything here. But don't let that stop your little witch hunt against the Hindu leadership. These deals, environmental protection, cultural preservation, and humanitarian aid, stuff you cheer if it came from a Western NGO. But nah, when it's Hindus and indigenous folks teaming up, it's suddenly a scandal. The selective outrage is giving a whiplash. Now on financial exploitation fantasy. Payments for land? Try investments in community development and conservation managed by the communities themselves. Because, shocker, indigenous people can handle their own affairs. Your implication that they can't spot a fair deal without your babysitting is big colonial vibes. And while you're obsessing over these consensual partnerships, where is exposed on the extractive industries cutting indigenous lands for profit? Oh right, that doesn't fit the Hindus are the bad guys narrative. Tell me, do you practice the double standards in front of the mirror, or does it just come naturally? Now on indigenous sovereignty and rights. These partnerships honor indigenous sovereignty, written right into the agreements, respecting their autonomy under Bolivia's constitution, Article 30, which says that they got self-determination, and moreover, even the United Nations Declaration backs their rights to global connections. But here you are, acting like they need your permission to pick their friends. That's not journalism, that is colonial flashback, pretending to be a hot take. The real threat to indigenous rights? Your sanctimonious meddling, trying to gatekeep who they can work with. Now, regarding the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The personal attack on the Supreme Pontiff? A masterclass in religious persecution with a side of bad faith. Self-proclaimed guru? His lineage is more than 10,000 of years older than your media outlet, recognized by legit Hindu authorities like the 68 Jagadguru Shankaracharya and over 1,000 other prominent Hindu pontiffs and so many more others. Courts worldwide have cleared him, be it the Gujarat court, the United States court, the Karnataka court, plus Interpol's not buying your anti-indigenous racist smear campaign. Keep pushing debunked lies though. It's a bold strategy for when journalism is just a code for vendetta. Now on the indigenous rejection line. Indigenous community reject KAILASA. Wow! Bold claim for something you pulled straight out of thin air. No legit leaders have said this, unless you count some random loudmouth from cherry-picked to fit your narrative. You're not just gaslighting, you are trying to puppeteer indigenous voices into divide and conquer racist tactics and playbook. Classic move. Meanwhile, real communities partnering with Hindus are getting your intimidation threats. Stay classy, Bolivia's finest. Now on the government relations and political controversy. Meeting with officials is controversial now? Someone alert diplomats ever. It's just how the world works. But when Hindus and indigenous groups do it, it's a scandal worth of your breathless headlines. The Supreme Pontiff of Hindus isn't even on this. But why let the facts ruin a good smear? Your double standards so obvious. It's practically a blind board. Westerners can smooth, but brown folks better stay quiet. Now about the environmental protection, not exploitation. Calling conservation partnerships exploitation is so Orwellian. It deserves a standing ovation. These deals protect biodiversity and fund sustainable practices. Meanwhile, you're mute on the mining and logging outfits actually trashing the place. It's almost like you got an agenda. Nah, couldn't be. Surely Bolivia's media darling are above that. Now about the international representation. False representation at the United Nations. Hindus and indigenous reps follow the same rules as everyone else there. The United Nations has published 22 reports on our persecution, and in 7 of them upheld our juridical statehood. Guess they didn't get your memo that we are not real. You'd never call out Western NGOs for the same participation, but I get it. Brown voices at the table just hit different for you. Now regarding the threats. You mean legal notices asking you to stop lying? That's not intimidation, that is accountability. Maybe you should try it sometime. No evidence, no specifics, just vibes. If vagueness were an Olympic sport, you'll take gold. Now about the size and population of KAILASA. KAILASA serves 2 billion born and practicing Hindus globally while having specific citizens. Sorry if that is too nuanced for your headlines. 2 billion inhabitants. A twisted riff of our mission, not censors. And that unknown island of Ecuador bit. Pure fan fiction. Keep workshopping it though. Might take a decent B-movie. Now on unauthorized presence and immigration violations. Visits to indigenous lands. Invited by the folks who own them per their constitutional rights. Immigration violations? Everyone has got their papers. Where is your proof otherwise? Oh right, facts are optional in this saga. Now regarding the carbon markets initiatives. Carbon market exploitation? It's conservation controlled by indigenous communities. Again, they're right under Bolivia's constitution. You're really reaching with this one. Might want to stretch a little more first. What we've got here isn't journalism. It's weaponized nonsense from iNoticias and Inter Bolivia, auditioning as mouthpiece for anti-indigenous, anti-Hindu, racist agendas. Your distortions and fabrications are the opening act to the playbook we've seen before. Smear, dehumanize, repeat. History is taking a note. And spoilers, it doesn't end well for the complicit. To indigenous communities getting this hit, we've got your back. To the world, keep watching. Truth has got a way of outlasting bad headlines.